Are we live? Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. How are you doing? We've got Cheryl not here today. So I've asked Owen to join me again instead because we loved it. We had so much fun last time. How is everybody doing? Happy Monday. It's August. New month, new goals. What's your goal for this month, Owen? Put you on the spot, Natalie. What's your goal?
My goal for this month is to finish Deadly Betrayal. I'm halfway through, so if I finish that, I will be very, very far ahead of schedule because I'm writing this one quicker than ever. I'm not quite sure why, but it's just flowing.
Fingers on fire, because this is number 5, yeah?
Book 5, number 4 in the DCI Phillips series, yeah. So it's my 3rd book of the year.
Oh, Owen, just flash the stash. Because we're talking about dream jobs today, so this is so relevant. Look at that. Is that not a thing of beauty? It's bigger than a doorstop now, isn't it? It's
going to get bigger and bigger. By the end of the year, there should be another one on there, and then early next year, another one.
Yeah. And one of the things I told Owen to do in his last coaching session was to create space, isn't it, for your success? Like, expect the success. So create a shelf and room for all the books, create room for where you're going to put your rewards. And this is the kind of stuff we're going to talk about today.
Well, you'll see, this is masking tape because I've been painting. So won't see all of it, but I'm getting it ready. So new shelves going up in that corner for the books and the awards and everything. So I'm doing the practical as well as the spiritual.
I love it. Hey, Joe. Hey, Wendy. So today we want to talk to you guys about what it's like to land your dream job. And I had to have somebody on who has done exactly that, because we have got so many blockers, haven't we, Owen? Like, I know how many people are really, really doing the job that they really want to do? If you think of the average of the people you know, of like 10 people in your family, like how many of them do you reckon are doing? It's not that they don't like their job, but how many of them are doing their heart thing? Like, that's scary, isn't it?
That's 0. Not okay, 0. Niche. Totally not. None of my lot at all.
That's really scary. And I think a lot of our community are waking up to this, because a big part of what Cheryl and I love doing is just giving people that mindset shake and starting them to get them thinking about what they want to do. But you, like, are a great example, because you had like a totally different career, didn't you? Because we talked about the books, but just tell the guys what you were really doing before that.
20 years in radio and very senior management, including 4 years in Australia, in Sydney and Melbourne. And when I came back, I did 6 or 7 years at Bauer Media. And for the final 6 years, I was the group content director for the largest radio network, commercial radio network in Europe. So I had 22 stations across from the tip of Scotland all the way down to Birmingham and beyond. I had 1 digital station in London, and I had at the time 250 people working for me. So big responsibility, lots of hours traveling, and all the trappings that come with it. You know, nice salary, nice car, all of that stuff, and I was absolutely miserable.
But you are making all this money, and doesn't money make you happy? Because this is what we think. We chase these big jobs, we chase this responsibility. Oh, it's so exciting. We get to travel and and like earning the big bucks, and you were on big bucks. It went with the big responsibility and the lack of a life. You always can tell. No life, big responsibility, big bucks, miserable as fucking sin. So, like, I always say this to people: money does not make you happy.
No.
It's nice. It's
nice. Very nice. It was very nice.
But isn't it? But when you make money from something that you love doing, it's like a whole different.
It's such a different experience. It really is. And there's a limit as well as to what I could earn within that role. It was big, but it was always going to be, I would have to take on even more responsibility to get another layer of management, and another layer of salary. And actually, with what I'm doing now, it is unlimited. It is limitless. I mean, I've always wanted a Ferrari 308 GTS, like Magnum used to drive. And in my view of my life, I'm driving that around here in Shotley Bridge with my Hawaiian shirt on, the roof down. And with no hint of irony, I will be playing the theme tune from Magnum PI. And I even put a boot polish on my mustache.
Oh, I might have to lick you. I did have a thing for Tom Selleck, even in Friends. So, like, if I see you in that car in his shirt, like, all bets are off. Just tell Kim I'm sorry.
Well, this is it. I'll have to do my sort of Tom Selleck smile, the kind of
Oh,
moustache
see,
going.
I'm finding you hot now. I'm finding you hot, Owen. Right. So there'll be people watching today going, well, that's all right for you, Owen. You know, you were earning all this money. You must have, you know, millions in the bank. How come you then just, you know, you just decided to give it up and leave and start writing? But like, talk us, like, what is, because that was a big thing for me when you're going from earning 6-figure salary to then going, I'll just do my own thing over here. It's, I call it golden handcuffs. It is scary as hell. I had lovely pensions. I would get ridiculous bonuses. Me, the bonus was getting made redundant every 18 months or so, which was just like, oh, that's another kitchen or another bathroom or another holiday. That was like a bonus scheme being made redundant. So how did you, like, what was your mindset shift in going, money is great, all of this, but it's not what I want to do?
For me, at the time when I made the decision, 2 big pivotal events had happened. I became a dad for the first time, and then my dad passed away about 5 months later. And my dad had always worked like away from home, long hours, hardly ever saw him. My life was starting to replicate that, and I looked at him very small in his hospital bed and thinking, you know, this isn't the way I want to end up, you know, and there's more to life than this. And then serendipity, about a month afterwards, the business restructured and they offered me a new role and fully expected me to take it. But I was like, well, no, that's not the role I want. And actually, my legal right is I'd like to be offered redundancy if that's the case. So they turned around and offered me redundancy. And if it wasn't for my wife, Kim, I probably would have stayed in the job, because the fear of mortgage, house, new baby, because they were expecting me, because I bought a new house and I got a little boy, I'd stay in the job. And I just had to make the decision and say, no, I'll take the redundancy. It was a good redundancy package, don't get me wrong. You and I have talked about on many occasions. It was like the clock from 24 ticking backwards as that money ran out. And my new business and my new writing didn't take off at the speed I was hoping. So it was, to be honest, 2 years of pretty terrifying. And we're kind of coming out of that now.
Yeah.
But I've never regretted doing it, not once.
I love that. But it's a really good example, isn't it? I think it's like, when we said, well, coaching business, or somebody comes an author, you're not going to be J.K. Rowling. Like J.K. Rowling struggled for many years. How many rejections? There's 60-odd rejections or something for Harry Potter books or something, I think I read. So you don't walk away from a really successful career and then be a shit hot success in the next career, because you didn't, in our careers that we had before this, it took us a lot of years to get to where we were going, right? And I was watching, I think it was one of the coaches on a live a little while ago, and she said, you know, everyone thinks I was an overnight success. I was doing this for years before I started earning millions. And again, people's perceptions is, oh no, well, she's doing great now. Yeah, but that's just now.
Yeah, it took me, I'm an overnight sensation. That took 12 years. You know, my first book took 10 years to write. So I was working and writing, and actually it was all those train journeys and plane journeys where I wrote the story. So, you know, I used the time wisely, but at the end of the day, it's been a long, long journey. But I also knew when the time came, I had to go for it. There was no regrets. I just couldn't sit there and think in, you know, 20, 30 years time, what if?
What if?
It's been hard, but absolutely worth it.
I find that the scariest thing. Like, what if I don't do it? What if I know Yvette's just commented there saying I'm shit scared of taking the step because she's, you know, setting her own business and moving away from corporate. But you always say, Yvette, don't you, like the biggest fear is dying with a song still that's not being sung inside you. Like for me, that's such a scary thought of having this ambition that I just didn't have the balls to go for. Like I don't think I could look myself in the eye. So I did for a long time, 20 odd years. I managed to not look myself in the eye, but it wasn't nice. I didn't enjoy it. So I think go on, Owen.
For me, it is the no regrets. You know, I remember when I was off the opportunity in Australia, and someone said, you know, are you going to go? And I was terrified of going and moving away from home and, you know, taking time away from the family. And I said, I have to, because if I don't, I'll regret it, and I don't want regrets. And it was the same with the book. I took that leap of faith. We had a fantastic time, and I was like, it'll come good. You know, thankfully I've got a brilliant wife who just was like, I don't want you to carry on doing this. It's not right for you. You've got to follow your passion, you know, go for it.
Yeah, but you got really clear. But what are some of the blockers though? Like money is a big blocker. Like what else do you think stops people going for having the dream job and just going for the dream, going for the thing that they really want? What is it that gets in the way of it?
I think people don't believe that it can happen to them. You know, it's always, you look at the J.K. Rowlings, you look at in the digital publishing world, someone like L.J. Ross and, you know, Robert Brinzer. These are guys that have sold Angela Marston's millions and millions of books. And you think, well, yeah, but they're the lucky ones, or they're the exceptional ones. And it's like, well, no, anybody, as you've been telling me a lot lately, there is unlimited, you know, scope for everybody. There isn't a competition. There isn't the limited amount of pie. And, you know, it's having that belief. I think that's where people think, well, I won't be good enough, or no one will want me, or nobody will want to do it. And if you've still got that itch in here and you're not scratching it, then, you know, that for me is, you've got to do it. You've just got to scratch.
It's that massive, like you said, we tend to think that they're over there and they're really lucky, or somebody gave them a leg up, or something happened that, you know, whatever, like they were just the fluke, the exception. But why not you? Like, why can that not happen to you? What have they got? Yeah, they've got money now, but at the time when they were starting out, they got rejected billions of times, whether it's books or jobs. And sometimes we don't go, whether it's even just a job that we want within our company, or we don't go for it because we're so scared of not being good enough and being rejected. Like I for years kept the pipe dream of being a coach because that was nicer than the thought of trying to do the thing that I really wanted to do and being told that I was crap at it, because then I had nothing to even dream about. That was literally what I thought. I might as well just keep the dream, you know, and be good in my head, then come out and then be terrible at it, and nobody wants to know what you've got to say. But this is the kind of crap that goes on in your head. I'd never voiced that to anyone. I don't know if I was even like aware of it till I started having the conversation, because it just kept getting louder and louder in my head.
Well, there was a guy that I used to work with in radio, and he was hugely talented, and he would come up with these amazing ideas and concepts for you know, TV shows and content, and he would get within a whisker of actually putting himself out there, and then he would sabotage it, because it was easier to not be rejected and think one day it'll happen than it was to actually stick it out there and someone go, I love it, or it's not good enough. But it was just so frightening. He was like, no. And it was amazing. I wish he'd done it, because it was so good. The stuff he was doing was so good.
Oh, that's crazy, isn't it? That when you can see that talent in other people and know, like you said, the sabotage and are holding themselves back. And there's such a gift. And I say this all the time, don't I? Like, don't be selfish. Share it with the world, because if it makes one more person's day brighter, like, it is a gift, isn't it? You have got, I believe every single one of us has got some kind of gift. Yeah. We just don't see it as that, because it's the thing that we do most naturally.
Totally.
Cheryl's at Leeds. Hey, Cheryl. Oh, it's lovely to see you. Dying with music inside me is the worst thing ever. Totally. Like Owen said, go hard or go home. Like, don't have regrets. Mel saying the biggest fear about following my dream and setting up my own business is that I'll have no income and lose everything. That's a really common one. That's a really common one. I've been there. Owen's been there. I'm not going to lie. You don't, because, and that's your monkey mind. That is your fear trying to keep you safe, doesn't want you to go out on a limb. You actually, you know, because we don't, unless you're from, have you noticed this, Owen? Like, people who are brought up in entrepreneurial families very rarely go into 9-to-5 jobs. They normally, you know, like, that's just what you do. You have a new business. Like, we're from working class backgrounds, writing books, having coaching businesses and all that. Like, I'm from a family of shipbuilders. Like, that's, you go and you get, I was brought up, get a job in the bank. Yeah. Permanent, you'll be there till you retire, like your Auntie Julia. Just get a job in a bank. You know, they were mortified when I got a job in a call centre. What do you want to do that for? Oh, Danny, you could be working in a bank. And I remember telling them how much I earned, which was more than the average at age 23. And they're like, oh, what's these call centres about then? You know, so I think our monkey mind is going crazy, isn't it? It's wanting to keep you safe. And like, how did you deal with the money stress and the, what if we lose everything? And what if I fall on my face? And what if I have to sell the house?
I won't lie, it was very, very difficult. And there have been times where, you know, we thought, you know, we were going to have to move and get something smaller and not carry on. But I was very lucky that I met you and Cheryl when I did, because I, you know, it was put onto a plane where I could actually start believing in the universe and the power of it, and it always had my back. And I always remember I had to put my flat up for sale. I had to sell a property that I had in Glasgow, and I always remember you saying that the universe has got your back. The universe has got your back. It will show you it's got your back. And I took a call with an offer on my flat, which was about 10 grand more than we were ever expecting at 11:11.
I remember the text. I mean, you actually sent me a shot of the text.
Picture of it. Look at this, 11:11, and that still stays with me because there are still days now I'm still not anywhere near what I used to do. And we have to be careful, but I can. But I'm on the path. The journey is happening, and I can see every book out. We're getting more and more royalties coming in, and the coaching business is starting to work as well. So you kind of, you can feel it. But those little moments just stick in your mind, and I am, I used to go and sit with my dad, spread some ashes up near where we live, and I'd go sit with him and just hear the song "Patience" by Take That every time I sat down, which I always laugh about because the most impatient person ever was my father, telling me to be patient. And talking to you, I kept hitting brick wall after brick wall, and I remember saying, I just feel like either I'm failing or the universe is just shutting every door it doesn't want me to go through. And that's kind of how I feel now. I am certain that I'm on the right path, and it's a journey, but that's why we've got people like you to help us, because it just keeps pushing you back in the right direction.
I love that. So when you get that clarity, it is about co-creating it with the universe, isn't it? And we say this all the time, don't we, Owen? Once you've stopped muddying the waters and saying, well, I might like that job, but I quite like my business. But if that job comes up, I'll take it. Like the universe is like, what do you want me to help you out with? What is it that you want here? And as soon as you just got super clear, the synchronicities just kept coming thick and fast, and the opportunities and the open doors that you really wanted.
Crazy, and the amount of jobs that I did apply for at one point, I go, do you know what? I could really do with a job now. I'm tired of this thing. You go through those stages, and I talked to you about it. I was like, I'm living my dream. You were like, look, go for it. And the universe will tell you what it wants. I never got an interview for any of them. And I was I've done every single job in my sleep. I was like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I get an interview? And it was like, the universe is like going, seriously, stop messing about.
Stop messing about. But I love that. It's much nicer way than going like, what is wrong with me? It's just like, universe doesn't want me to open that door then. Like it's got nothing to do with failure or not being good enough. It's just like, that's not your door.
There's just closed doors all the way down, and they're going, not for you, not for you, not for you. And there's a big one with a light at the end, which is like beaming. And I was listening to The Science of Getting Rich that you recommended, and there's it's so clear in my mind that there's a great phrase, and I'm trying to remember it correctly, but it's like the universe has kept you out of getting entangled in something which you thought at the time was good for you, but would have stopped you being able to reach up and reach the goal. So don't get tangled in this, because you're going to go up here. And that's kind of, looking back now, my last 2 years has been, a lot of challenges, but just this determination that it's right, and I feel it's right. It's meant to be. So
the feeling's important, isn't it? Like that feeling that where you're meant to be. If people just tuned into that and listened to that, everything else will flow so much easier in life.
Yeah.
So the money, I always think the money challenges and the tests are sent to test your faith, or sent to test your desire. Is this what you really want? Are you prepared to go all the way with it? And when you answer that you are, then it'll help you. Like the money appears from somewhere. It always has. It has for me and Cheryl as well.
Yeah. And you appreciate it so much more as well, because when I was earning the big money, it was just going into the bank. I could buy XYZ. I could go on holiday. I had some amazing holidays, but I never really fully enjoyed them because I was so stressed out.
Yeah. You spend your first week there unwinding from the stress, and then the next week you're there thinking about the stress you're going to go back to.
I remember I used to go like, I've only got 5 days left. I've only got 4 days left. I wish it was yesterday and I still had 5 days left. And it was yesterday and I had 4 days left, and it was like, and it was just wish. Yeah. Now I just, everything is, everything's a gift, and it's you do realize when you get down to your bare ass, just how good stuff is,
I was on holiday last week, as you know, and I've got my book next to me, and I sent Cheryl a little video, and I was like, these are all the notes I've made about the business while I've been away. Turns out me on holiday thinking about the business, but I wasn't doing the day-to-day stuff and a lot of just the day-to-day noisy stuff that we have to do when we run businesses. The team was so lucky we're taking care of it, and obviously there's two of us, right? So Cheryl was carrying, you know, all the coaching sessions and stuff, and just having that space to think and get creative and think the strategy of some of the products and programs we want to do was so exciting. But for me, that's the beauty. I don't want to take a holiday from our business. I just want to take a holiday from some day-to-day stuff, but I don't want to take a holiday from my life anymore, that's exactly what it used to be like. You just want to escape and get drunk and pretend it wasn't going to happen.
Totally.
So Joe's just saying, looking at what you do as a gift and a service to others really changed the perspective and helps me. Absolutely. Yvette, I think it's really interesting observation. Actually, what we are most natural at is common sense, and we don't see it. People used to say to me all the time, you're really good with people, and I wouldn't accept it because I'm like, but I didn't go to university to be good with people, so therefore I'm not qualified in that, so don't talk to me about people and coaching. Like, that's just, I felt like I was cheating. Hold that thought and indeed that tune. Love that, Owen. Oh, see, we're loving you today, Owen. This is me too. Ooh, Owen, it's happening. Yeah, the synchronicities will come thick and fast. Just do what you like. What's the thing that comes natural to you? What's the thing that you'd really love to do? And I'm not saying go out and tell, you know, if you've got a partner who's not particularly supportive or worries about money, you know, you go and actually, I want to scrap all of this 6-figure job and go and open a florist. But just, I'm not saying go and tell everybody, but tell somebody that you trust that will be encouraging, and just start to just wonder, like, what if it all went well? What if it was brilliant? Like, what would your life be like? Rather than, well, what if it goes wrong and I lose the house and the kids have got no clothes and we end up living in the car? And we what if about all the nightmare scenarios, don't we, at first? We don't even give it room to breathe. So just have a little think about, what would your life be like if you had it? Like, what would you really love to do? And just get clear on that one thing. That's where I'd start. And what about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's what, for me, it's the feeling, you know, it's totally the feeling of, I remember being on holidays, all those holidays I've ever been on, and sitting there thinking, I'd love to be in a position where I don't mind going home from a holiday, because actually I'm going back to do something that I truly love. Yeah. And, you know, my job was so stressful, not just because of the amount of people I had, but the management above me and the way they operated wasn't really in line with how I wanted to work. So you were constantly doing this dance of trying to get them to, you know, in a certain position so I could do the job down. And all the time, all I'm feeling is just, there's more to this. You can't see my hand, but I'm sort of this solar plexus here. This was always, for me, there's something more, there's something more. I'm not being put here to do this. I've been put here for something else. I've got to follow it. And I was lucky. I was very, very open-minded. I went to do some dream healing when I was in Australia on holiday years and years ago. And I spoke to my guides and my team in the outback. It was an amazing experience. Amazing. And in that, they said to me, and this is long before I moved to Australia, there was visions of the Sydney Harbour Bridge and then the Tyne Bridge. They came together. Wow. I didn't understand what that was. And obviously I ended up living in Sydney, right next to the bridge. And then I moved to Newcastle when I came back. And what's interesting as well was I remember saying to the guides, what am I supposed to do? And they got really irritated with me and went, you know what you've got to fucking do. You're supposed to do it in books. How many times do you have to be told? Just get on and bloody do it. So I started then, when I got back from Australia, I joined a writing course, which wasn't particularly good. It was like a correspondence one. But then when I moved to Australia, I found a proper course I could get involved in, and that gave me the structure. So it's just having that feeling of there is more to it, and following, you know.
Tune into it, tune into that feeling. I'm going to leave you on that one. I've dropped the links in, guys, and Holly will drop it in if it's not in whichever page you're watching us on, for the Imposter Syndrome program, the masterclass in 2 weeks, because that will really help you, because confidence, the fear of failure, all of that stuff, your monkey mind is your imposter. So come on that 1 hour with us and let us help you work through some of that and give you the practical strategies and techniques you need to start turning that down, so you can start tuning into your dream life and what that will look like. So thank you so much. Have a lovely Monday, and thank you, Owen, for coming and joining me and keeping me company today.
Lovely.
And we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow we are talking about what it really looks like if you do want to start your own business. So join us for that. See you later. Bye.
Bye.